Good evening. I'm a former IDF intelligence officer who spent 15 years as a part of a team in charge of security on Israel's northern borders with Syria and Lebanon. Today, I provide strategic briefings for groups when they travel to the north border of Israel. I have the honor of speaking with American leaders from all over the country and members of Congress. Being on the border with Lebanon and Syria is the most impactful way to understand the security challenges Israel faces every day. And as you know, it is changing every day. So now, through the magic of the AIPAC conference, I have the honor of taking you to Israel's northern border. If you landed just outside Tel Aviv, at Israel's Ben Gurion International Airport, it would take you about 3 hours to arrive here in the Galilee, where I live with my husband and 5 kids. So where are we exactly? We are looking out on a small Israeli town called Metula, and we are right on the border with Lebanon. Let me show you the border. You see those cultivated fields over there, past the trees? The trees are Israeli, and the fields are Lebanese. The border goes right between the two and continues around the hill. In July of 2006, Hezbollah fired mortars that landed right here in Metula. Later that day, 2 IDF soldiers were kidnapped on the border. And when soldiers are kidnapped, that is an act of war. That same day, I went to my commander and told him, we can't have war now since I'm 9 months pregnant. And he said, don't worry, the baby will wait. Well, he was right. The ceasefire began at August 14th at dawn, and my son was born that same day at dawn. So my son is almost 12 years old now, and since that time, it has been relatively quiet on this border. You know, there have been some 20 instances here where a rocket or a mortar landed inside a village, not only a village, also my village. In addition, 3 soldiers were also killed during this time. But there was no escalation, no prolonged conflict, and for us, believe it or not, 20 rockets in 12 years, it's pretty quiet. But I'm not sure this will last. And why is that? Well, 2 reasons. The first, growing confidence of Hezbollah. I will show you an example. Look at this barren hill across the valley from us. There's a road carving along the hill. You see where that road curves? There is a sign. If you use the binoculars, you will see a poster with 2 Hezbollah flags. On the poster is an image of Khomeini, the leader of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. An image of the Temple Mount, and written in Hebrew and Arabic is the message, "We are coming." You see posters like this popping up on the border more and more in the past few years, with intimidating slogans and messages. This shows Hezbollah gaining confidence because the Shiite side is winning in Syria, and they are gaining combat experience there too. Hezbollah is now becoming a terrorist army and is able to move large amounts of troops, where Israeli intelligence officials worry that they may cross the border and try to occupy a small village like this, like Metula, just to show that they can. So we have to think about Lebanon and Syria together. What happened in one country affects the other. The second reason for my concern is how embedded Hezbollah is in this area. For example, you see these villages on this side, on the other side of the fields? That's where Hezbollah is. They have made many of the villages along the border into militarized compounds, while civilians are still living there. When you hear that Hezbollah has up to 150,000 rockets, this is where they are hiding those rockets. In towns like this, all along the border with Israel. The rockets are either inside the homes or underneath homes, putting Lebanese civilians at risk. How do we fight that? How do we attack an enemy that is hiding in a kindergarten? How do we defend ourselves? Well, you may say, Sarit, we have Iron Dome now, and this is true. But against thousands of rockets, there aren't any enough Iron Dome batteries in the world to handle that. And my kids and I, well, we have only 9 seconds to get to the shelter. And some of these rockets, they can hit specific buildings in Haifa or Tel Aviv. Let's travel to the Syrian border on the Golan Heights. It's about a 40-minute drive east. Look, Syria is right here in front of us. You see these cultivated fields? Okay, the fields are Israeli. In general, everything past the fields is part of Syria. We saw last month how this is becoming an active front against Israel. The dimensions of the threat have shifted just in the last few weeks. As you remember, an Iranian drone penetrated Israel airspace, and within minutes, a US-made Israeli Apache helicopter destroyed the drone. Within an hour, a decision was made. Send a very hard response. Israel sent a group of US-made F-16 fighters to destroy the drone control station deep inside Syria. This was not a clash between proxies. It was a direct clash between Israel and Iran. Israel has become the actual front against Iran. The incident showed us that the Syrian front can heat up very quickly. We often see and hear weapons firing from this place since the start of the fighting in Syria. I will show you why. You see this area with some trees and some ruins? That is where the Syrian rebels are positioned. And this city is loyal to the Assad regime, and the Syrian army is there. Some Shiite forces are also there. So you see how close the two sides are to each other and to Israel? And that's why we can hear gunshots even though we are inside Israel. Now, you know, when I say rebels, there are lots of different kinds of rebels controlling the other side of the border. And it's the same with the regime. When I say regime, I mean Assad, Hezbollah, the Syrian army, And most significantly, Iran. Iran is giving money and support to Hezbollah and other extremist groups. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, is seeking to establish a military presence just 12 miles from Israel's border. This is our big concern, Iran and its proxies. Whatever happens with the civil war in Syria, Israel cannot allow Iran or Hezbollah to become a permanent presence in southwest Syria, including along this border over here. Because that way you have a united front who wants to destroy us. One last stop before I leave you. This is the view from my home. This park is in Kfar Vradim, where I live with my family. We are 7 miles from the Lebanese border and 34 miles from Syria. That's like from here to Baltimore. From this lookout, you can see a Druze village on the left. This particular view is a remarkable example of the diversity here in the Galilee. In just 2 miles from the Druze village, we have a mixed village of Christians, Jews, and Muslims called Ma'alot Tarshiha. We have everybody, and we live together. This is what peace looks like. But as we have seen, there are forces that want to take this away from us. These are the towns and villages that Hezbollah will target first. And when it happens, not I say when, not if. When it happens, we will need America's support. We will need you.